My wife secretly faked infertility so she could keep seeing her ex without getting pregnant. What I did next destroyed everything. You know, I never thought I'd be one of those guys telling a story like this. You always hear about dudes getting played, getting lied to, getting their whole world flipped upside down, and you think, that won't be me. That's some weak guy stuff. I always figured I was smarter than that. More careful. Turns out, doesn't matter how careful you are when someone you trust is willing to lie straight to your face every damn day. My wife, Lauren, yeah, that's her name, no point sugarcoating it. She pulled something on me that honestly, man, even now, makes my stomach turn every time I think about it. See, from early on, we both agreed we wanted kids. I mean, we talked about it constantly. Names, schools, where we'd live, how many kids, the whole damn package. It was one of the things that made me fall for her in the first place. She always acted like she wanted this perfect little family with me. So when a year passed after our wedding and nothing was happening, we started seeing doctors. Or well, I thought we did. She said she was handling all the appointments because, you know, she didn't want to stress me out. She kept saying stuff like, "I'll figure it out, babe, just focus on work." And back then? Man, I trusted her. Fully. Stupid, right? But when you're married, you want to believe your wife has your back. That she's got your best interests in mind. I was working my ass off, pulling overtime, trying to build us a future. Meanwhile, she kept coming home acting all heartbroken, saying the doctors couldn't figure out why she wasn't getting pregnant. She'd cry, man. Real tears. The whole act. Said maybe God didn't want her to have kids, that maybe she was broken. And I'd hold her, tell her it didn't matter, that we had each other. And she'd just nod, sniffling into my shoulder like she was the victim. But what I didn't know, while I was pulling those double shifts, she was sneaking out. Going to see her ex. The same dude she used to date back in college. Some punk named Tyler. Yeah. I knew about him before we got married. She told me it was over between them. That he was toxic, controlling, manipulative. She made him sound like the biggest mistake of her life. And I believed her. Because why wouldn't I? You trust your wife. You believe the person who's supposed to be your partner. But apparently, she never really cut him off. And all that infertility crap? That was her cover story. She was actively making sure she wouldn't get pregnant, while she was messing around with him behind my back. She was lying to me about everything. And you know what really gets me, man? The way she talked to me during that time. Like, she'd look at me, right in the eyes, and say stuff like, "Thank you for being patient with me. Most men wouldn't stick around for this." Like I was supposed to feel lucky for being lied to. For being made a fool. That's some cold shit. And the worst part? She wasn't slipping up. She didn't have any of the usual signs. No late nights, no weird text messages, no random fights out of nowhere. She was careful. Calculated. Like this was her damn hobby. Lying became second nature to her. And me? I was just too busy grinding, thinking I was being a good husband. Providing, supporting, planning. While she was out there getting everything she wanted from both sides. My financial security. And whatever sick little thrill she got from sneaking around with that loser. And you know the craziest part? It wasn't even just her little circle that kept playing along. It was like the whole damn system was designed to make me feel like the lucky one, like I was some saint for sticking by her through infertility. Her mom kept feeding her that crap too. One night, I'll never forget it, we were at her parents' house for dinner. Out of nowhere, her mom goes, "Jason, not every man would stay this supportive through such difficult circumstances. You're rare." And she smiles that fake tight smile while cutting into her steak, acting like she didn't just spit in my face while trying to sound polite. And Lauren, of course, plays right into it, puts her hand on mine, squeezes it like we're some damn power couple. "I'm so blessed to have him," she says. Yeah, right. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there thinking I'm the solid one. The rock. The husband who's not giving up when things get tough. But looking back now, they were all in on it. They weren't complimenting me. They were mocking me. Because behind my back, they knew what was really going on. They knew she was meeting that piece of crap Tyler while I was breaking my back at work. And the real kicker? Tyler used to show up at some of our family events. Birthday parties. Barbecues. He'd be the old friend, just swinging by for a quick drink. And you want to know how she sold that to me? "Oh babe, he's just stopping by for a few minutes. He's still friends with my cousin, it'd be weird to tell him not to come." And because I didn't want to be the jealous, controlling husband, I said fine. You want to trust your wife, right? You don't want to be that guy. And every time he left, she'd reassure me like clockwork. "Thank you for trusting me, babe. That's why we're different than other couples. We have real trust. Real trust, my ass. She was using my trust like a weapon, man. And every time I look back now, I can't believe how deep I was in it. Like, I wasn't blind, I was drugged by loyalty, if that makes sense. That type of loyalty that makes you dismiss your own gut because you think you're being a better man for it. But those little signs? They started adding up. The way she'd suddenly get emotional for no reason. The nights she'd come home smelling like perfume I didn't recognize. And those girl nights. That started happening way more often than before. But still, every time my gut whispered, I shut it down. Told myself I was just overthinking. Don't be that guy, Jason. Don't be paranoid. That's what I kept telling myself. Like some damn fool. Eventually, man, no matter how loyal you are, your gut starts punching harder. And once that voice inside you gets loud enough, you can't pretend anymore. I remember one night, real late, she comes home after another one of those girl nights. Except this time, something was different. You know how sometimes your brain just snaps into focus? Like suddenly you're seeing every detail you used to overlook. She walked in wearing this tight black dress I hadn't seen before. Her makeup was flawless, like she just left some photo shoot, not a girl's wine night. And the smell, man, some expensive perfume I sure as hell didn't buy her. I looked at her and said real calm, "You have fun?" She smiled like nothing was off. "Yeah, it was great, babe. Just me and the girls, you know how we are when we catch up." And I'm staring at her, and this time, I don't just nod like usual. I give her a little smirk and say, "That's so? Funny. Thought you hated going out this late." For a split second, she flinched. Real subtle, but I caught it. That micro hesitation. But she recovered like a damn pro. Well, it was Emily's birthday, I couldn't say no. And I'm just sitting there, staring through her like glass. See, thing is, Emily moved 2 states away 6 months earlier. She apparently forgot that little detail. But I didn't say anything yet. Not that night. I let it sit. Because now I knew something was happening, and I needed more. You don't go full nuclear on your wife based on one lie. Nah. You wait. You stack your evidence. You let her think she's still fooling you. And bro, I did exactly that. From that night on, I started playing dumb on purpose. Every girl's night. After that, I kissed her goodbye, smiled, even helped pick her dress. Meanwhile, I quietly put a tracker app on her phone. And man, I wasn't ready for how fast the truth hit me. The very next weekend, her girl's night led her straight to a hotel. Guess who checked in 20 minutes before her? Mr. Tyler. The same snake who was supposedly long gone from her life. My stomach dropped. You ever have that moment where your blood feels like it's turning into ice water? That was me, sitting there, staring at my screen, watching that little GPS dot land on that hotel parking lot. But I still didn't confront her yet. I needed more. I needed to know how deep this hole really was. So I kept collecting. Over the next few weeks, same routine. She'd leave for girls' night. I'd watch that little blue dot on my phone slide over to that same damn hotel every single time. Sometimes for hours. Sometimes overnight. I even checked credit card statements, dinners, spa charges, room service, all of it. And man, I wanted to flip my house upside down. But you can't act emotional when you're building your case. You gotta stay cold. You gotta stay focused. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I get a call from one of my coworkers. This dude I'd known for years, solid guy. He goes, "Hey man, I wasn't sure if I should even tell you this, but I saw Lauren at the Grove last night with some dude. They were real close. Like, not just friends close." I play it cool and say, "Huh, that's weird, she told me she was with her girlfriends." And he's like, "Yeah, well, that dude sure as hell wasn't one of her girls." That was it, man. That's when I knew it was time to stop playing dumb. I had enough. And here's where it gets even sicker. Before I made my move, her mother, yeah, that same condescending woman, decides to pull me aside one evening. She says, "Jason, I hope you understand how lucky you are to have my daughter. So many women would have left a man who couldn't give her children. You're fortunate she's been so patient with your situation." My situation? The level of disrespect in that moment was wild, man. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Oh yeah? Well, maybe you should worry less about what you think my situation is, and more about what's really going on behind your daughter's late nights." She froze for a second, tried to recover with that fake smile again, but I could tell she felt something shift. She didn't know what I knew, but she felt the energy change. And I wanted her to feel it. I wanted all of them to feel it. Because they had no clue what was coming. At that point, I wasn't just angry. I was ice cold, focused, fully locked in. See, when you're a man who's worked his whole damn life to build something, sacrificed, stayed loyal, carried the weight without complaining, and then you realize someone you trusted with everything is spitting in your face while smiling at you, that flips a switch. It's not just heartbreak, it's insult. It's disrespect at the highest level. And once that switch flips, you're done playing nice. You're done giving people chances they don't deserve. I had enough evidence stacked to nuke her entire little fantasy world, but before dropping the hammer, I wanted to see how far she'd keep digging her own grave. So I started setting small traps. You want to know just how deep someone's willing to lie? Give them rope and let them hang themselves. One night she comes home after another one of her innocent nights out. I sit there at the kitchen table, drinking a beer, dead calm. "Hey babe," I say, keeping my voice light. "Fun night?" She smiles like nothing's wrong, like she ain't carrying the weight of that disgusting secret. "Yeah, it was amazing. Just some much-needed girl time. We went to that new wine spot I told you about." I take a slow sip, nodding like I believe her. "Funny, I heard that place closed down last month. City license issues." She freezes for just half a second, then forces that fake giggle. "Oh, must have been another place, babe. You know me, I mix up the names sometimes." I just stare at her for a moment. That little twitch in her eye gave it away. She knew she slipped, but she thought she was still safe. And that's when I realized she was way too comfortable lying. Like she'd been doing this so long she thought she was untouchable. Like I was some idiot who couldn't possibly figure it out. And bro, that's what made me more dangerous. Because once you make a man feel like a fool in his own house, he's gonna make damn sure you pay for it. Now here's where it got even uglier. Her family started getting bold too. Her mother, that snake, starts bringing up adoption during a family dinner like it was her brilliant little idea. "Jason, honey, since you two are struggling, maybe you should think about adoption. I mean, Lauren deserves to be a mother one way or another. And you know, there are other ways to make a family when things aren't working naturally." I locked eyes with her across that table and said flat as hell, "Yeah? That what she told you? That I was the problem?" The whole room went silent. Lauren tried to jump in with, "Babe, she's just trying to help." But I cut her off real calm, never raising my voice. "No, let's not play dumb here. Let's just say some people should worry a little more about who's sneaking around at hotels before they start throwing advice about family planning." Her mom went pale. Her dad shifted uncomfortably. Lauren's face? Absolute panic. She knew. Right there, in that moment, she realized I wasn't some clueless husband anymore. That I was fully awake now. But instead of owning it, she doubled down like every liar does when cornered. She started crying, pulling out the crocodile tears like clockwork, saying, "I can't believe you'd accuse me of something like that. After everything I've been through." And that's the sickest part, man. The emotional manipulation. That's where they really get you if you're not solid. Because a weak man would have folded right there, comforted her again, apologized for even daring to question her. But not me. Not anymore. I stared at her while she sniffled, wiped her fake tears, and I just said, "Don't worry. I'm not accusing you of anything, yet." Her face froze again. That was the second major shift. And from that moment forward, everything changed in that house. She got jumpier, her stories got sloppier, and I knew she was starting to feel the pressure. Because she sensed that wall closing in around her, and she had no idea just how thick that wall really was. At that point, the shift inside me wasn't just emotional anymore. It turned tactical. You start thinking differently once you stop seeing her as your wife and start seeing her for what she really is, a liar sitting across from you, playing a part in a game you never agreed to play. And now it was my turn to set the rules. The more I stayed calm, the more reckless she got. Like she couldn't handle not being in control anymore. She started asking weird questions at random times, fishing for what I knew. "Babe, you know you can always tell me anything, right? You've seemed kind of distant lately," she'd say, trying to sound sweet. I'd just smile, lean back, and hit her with, "All good, babe. We're solid. Just busy, that's all." And that made her twitch every time, because she could feel something was off but couldn't quite figure out how deep in I really was. That right there? That's power. And you know who else started squirming? Her mom. That woman, man, she started calling me more often, checking in like she suddenly gave a damn about my well-being. "Jason, dear, you've been working so hard. You're not overwhelmed, are you? We care about you, you know." I wasn't buying any of it, but I kept playing my role. "Nah, I'm good, Diane. Everything's great. We're just going through some stuff, but it'll work itself out." That fake little pause before she'd say, "Well, I'm always here if you need someone to talk to." As if I was gonna sit there and spill my guts to the woman who probably knew about her daughter's affair months before I even suspected anything. What they didn't realize is I already had everything I needed. GPS data, financial records, hotel receipts, even some camera footage from a private investigator I eventually hired just to seal the coffin shut. Tyler wasn't even being careful at that point. Dude actually drove her car once to one of their meetups. Like he thought he was untouchable too. And yeah, I know what you're thinking, why didn't I just confront him? Bro, that's not how men handle this. You don't blow your load early when you're building a case this big. You let people bury themselves while you watch. And honestly, watching him parade around like some smug piece of crap, thinking he was winning, only made my plan that much sweeter. What really pushed me over the line, though, was one night when Lauren pulled one of the most insulting moves she'd ever tried to pull on me. She comes home late again, acting all exhausted, throws her purse on the counter, sighs dramatically, and says, "Babe, maybe we should start considering IVF. I don't want us to waste any more time." That was her next move, man. After years of lying about infertility while sneaking around behind my back, she now wanted to gaslight me into dumping tens of thousands of dollars into treatments we didn't even need. That was her insurance policy. If I agreed to IVF, she could keep the charade going even longer. I stared at her for a solid 5 seconds before answering. "You sure you're ready for that?" I asked calmly. She nodded, biting her lip like she was playing the supportive wife role. "Of course. I want this future with you, Jason." And I just smiled back. "All right then. Let's schedule an appointment next month. I'll take care of everything." She thought she won again in that moment. She thought she had me wrapped right back around her finger. What she didn't know was that I had already set up something entirely different behind the scenes, and that appointment wasn't gonna be with any fertility specialist. It was gonna be the beginning of the end for both her and her little side piece. Because once you humiliate a man like that, once you play games with his trust like that, you better pray he stays dumb. But once he stops being dumb, there's no mercy coming. None. That month leading up to the appointment was the longest damn month of my life, but also the most calculated I've ever been. See, when you're holding that much inside, you're not sleeping right, you're not eating like you should, but your brain is operating on some different level. Hyper-focused. Every move she made, every word out of her mouth, I analyzed like a damn surgeon. Meanwhile, she was floating around the house like she just won the freaking lottery. Acting sweeter, touching me more, dropping little "Thank you for being patient" lines like I was some lost puppy finally back on her leash. It was disgusting. But I smiled. I played along. Because I knew she was about to fall straight into her own grave. And then her mother starts ramping up too, like these people just couldn't help themselves. We're at another family dinner, everyone pretending to play happy suburban life, and Diane starts with her backhanded compliments again. "Jason, you've really stepped up lately. Lauren tells me how supportive you've been through all of this. Not every man would stay through infertility struggles. Honestly, you're a good man." I set my fork down, looked her straight in the face, and said, "Well, Diane, good men take care of their families. Good men also don't let people piss on them and call it rain." The whole table went awkwardly silent for a second. Lauren tried to giggle it off, doing her nervous. "Oh honey, what does that even mean?" Routine, but I didn't blink. "You know exactly what it means," I said. Her dad looked down at his plate, like always. Man never once had the balls to step into any of this. That right there told me everything I needed to know about where Lauren learned to lie so easy. Whole damn family full of cowards and manipulators, hiding behind fake smiles and polite conversation. But they didn't know what was already in motion behind the scenes. While they sat there playing house, I had my lawyer already prepping everything. The investigator handed me a fat folder with hotel footage, time-stamped credit card receipts, text message logs, even audio recordings. Yeah, I went that deep. Turns out Tyler wasn't just some old college ex she was screwing around with. Nah, he was broke, jobless, and Lauren was actually funneling money to him out of our joint accounts. The same joint accounts I was busting my ass to fill up while she cried herself to sleep every night pretending she was depressed over infertility. She wasn't sad because she couldn't have kids, she was sad because she couldn't fully live out her fantasy with that low-life parasite while still bleeding me dry. And the IVF? That was nothing but a cover to keep milking me longer. Another layer of lies. Another set of chains to lock me in. But she miscalculated, bro. She forgot that real men don't stay dumb forever. Once we wake up, we're dangerous. Quiet. Surgical. And by the time she figured it out, it was too damn late. The week of the appointment came. I told her I scheduled everything. She was glowing that morning, acting like she couldn't wait to start this new chapter with me. Babe, she said over breakfast. Thank you for doing this. I know it's been hard for both of us. But I really believe this is finally our time. I smiled, looked her right in the eyes, and said, yeah, our time. She didn't catch it. She thought I was all in. That's the part that still makes me shake my head. That overconfidence. That arrogance. She thought I was stupid right up until the final second. That's the kind of person she was, bro. They never think they'll get caught. They think they're smarter. Until they're not. That morning, I had everything arranged. She thought we were driving to the fertility clinic downtown, but I had booked a completely different spot across town. Real private office, but not for any IVF consultation. My lawyer was already there waiting, investigator too, sitting with thick folders of evidence that could crush anyone's career, marriage, or reputation. But here's where the final layer played out, because as much as I wanted to just unload everything at once, I needed her to fully expose herself one last time in front of witnesses. So I kept my cool during the drive. She sat there humming along to some love song on the radio like we were heading towards some beautiful new chapter of our lives. I was gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles were turning white, but my voice? Calm as ever. When we pulled up to the building, she looked confused. Babe, this isn't the clinic I thought we were going to. I smiled, putting the car in park. Yeah, I know. Change of plans? We need to have a conversation first. She froze for a second. That was the first crack in her armor. She tried to recover, laughing nervously. About what? You're scaring me. I stepped out, held the door open for her, still smiling. Let's go inside. You'll see. She followed, her heels clicking like gunshots on the marble floor, trying to keep her breathing steady. The receptionist led us straight to the conference room where my attorney and the investigator were already seated, folders spread across the table like weapons laid out for battle. Lauren looked at them, then back at me, her face losing color by the second. She whispered, "What is this?" That's when my lawyer spoke, cool and professional. "Please have a seat, Mrs. Collins. We have a few matters to go over before proceeding with any fertility discussions." She looked back at me, her eyes starting to water up, but I wasn't giving her a damn ounce of sympathy this time. I sat down across from her, folded my hands, stared her dead in the face. And then my lawyer started laying it out piece by piece. GPS logs, hotel receipts, surveillance footage, audio recordings of her conversations with Tyler, financial records showing the money she funneled to him behind my back. Everything. Each page he flipped felt like a bullet hitting her chest. She started shaking, tears falling, trying to break into her usual routine. "Jason, please, let me explain. It's not what you think." But I cut her off right there. "Don't. You've done enough talking. This is me talking now." Her lip quivered, and for the first time, she was actually speechless. My attorney continued calmly. "Based on this overwhelming evidence, we are filing for divorce effective immediately. Full financial restitution, no claim to any joint assets, no spousal support, and if contested, we will pursue charges for fraud and marital misconduct." She broke down completely, sobbing, hands covering her face like some victim, like she was the one being wronged here. And bro, that's the part that really pissed me off. The audacity. The entitlement. After years of betrayal, she still thought she could cry her way out of it. But not this time. I stood up slowly, leaned forward so only she could hear me, and I said, real low, "You could have walked away a long time ago, Lauren. But you chose to drag me through this filth. You chose this. So now you can live with it." She started gasping, reaching for me like she wanted to grab my arm, but I stepped back. My lawyer calmly handed her a packet. "These are your papers. Review them with your attorney. We strongly suggest you don't test us." She kept crying, begging, but I was already done. There was nothing left for her to say that would make a damn bit of difference. And as we left that building, I swear, I felt lighter than I had in years. Like a weight I didn't even realize was crushing me finally got ripped off my back. But the best part? That was only half of what was coming her way. Because Tyler? Oh, that idiot was about to get his too. Now with Lauren out of the picture, it was time to deal with the other half of this circus, Tyler. And trust me, bro, that part was personal. See, with Lauren, yeah, the betrayal cuts deep, but with this guy, it was different. This was a man who looked me in the face multiple times over the years, shook my hand, smiled at my table, pretended to be some distant friend of the family, while he was sneaking behind my back with my wife. That kind of disrespect sticks to your bones. And the way I see it? If a man steps into another man's house and plays him like that, he's asking for consequences. Problem was, Tyler thought he was untouchable because everything was always filtered through Lauren. He was too much of a coward to face anything directly. He used her like a shield, hiding behind her tears and stories while enjoying the benefits. But now, his shield was gone. And I knew exactly where to start. What Lauren didn't realize is that during my investigation, we uncovered a whole lot more about her little boyfriend than she ever knew herself. Turns out, Tyler had some real skeletons in his closet: unpaid debts, fraud charges that got swept under the rug years ago, shady business dealings, a long trail of financial mess behind him. The dude was barely holding himself together before he even started messing with my marriage. And thanks to my PI, I had documentation on all of it. Paper trail, witnesses, bank statements, the whole dirty file. I didn't even have to break the law to get it. He'd been leaving digital footprints for years like an amateur. So while my divorce papers were being finalized, my lawyer contacted a few people who had been burned by Tyler in the past. Let's just say there were quite a few. Old partners he scammed, investors he screwed over, and even a few minor legal disputes that had been settled quietly under the table. See, these guys were still pissed, but they didn't have the resources or proof to reopen anything. That's where I came in. I handed them everything, the whole damn file, tied up in a pretty little bow. I didn't have to lift a finger beyond that. Once that file hit the right desks, everything started moving fast. Lawsuits got reopened, fraud charges were filed, liens started popping up on anything with his name on it. And bro, I'll never forget the day I ran into him, completely by accident, too, at some random gas station while this whole thing was starting to blow up. He saw me walking toward the store, and you could see that exact moment where it clicked in his brain that I knew everything. His face went pale as hell, like he saw a ghost. He tried to play it cool for a second, gave me that weak little nod like we were still two friendly guys who hadn't been through hell. But I wasn't playing anymore. I stopped right in front of him, locked eyes, and said calm as hell, "Tick-tock, Tyler. You feeling it yet?" He didn't respond. Just swallowed hard and looked down at the pavement. Coward. That's when you really see what kind of man someone is. When there's no more room to hide, and all the fake tough guy confidence falls apart in front of you. He knew it was all closing in. And bro, the beauty of it was, I didn't need to lift a finger beyond that. The law was already chewing him up, the courts were on him, creditors were circling like sharks. His world was collapsing all on its own. Meanwhile, I was out. Financially clean, divorce finalized, all assets secured on my side. And him? That dude was drowning. That's real revenge. Not screaming. Not drama. Just watching a man destroy himself, slowly, while you sip your coffee knowing you played it smarter. You stayed colder. That's what real men understand. Sometimes you don't have to swing. You just have to wait and watch gravity do the work. You'd think once it was all over, once the divorce was finalized, once Tyler was drowning in lawsuits, once all the pieces had fallen exactly where I put them, you'd think I'd feel some kind of sick satisfaction. But honestly, bro, it's not like that. Real life don't give you that movie ending with dramatic music playing in the background. What you feel is different. It's peace. It's quiet. It's knowing that you finally pulled yourself out of the hole someone else dug for you. That's the real win. You get your dignity back, your sanity, your think time. And trust me, time is everything. The days after the dust settled were weird. The house was quiet. Way too quiet, honestly. But it was a good kind of quiet. No more fake crying in the bedroom. No more walking on eggshells. No more second-guessing whether I was losing my mind. I could sit on my own damn couch, drink my coffee, and not have to wonder who was lying to me behind my back. And yeah, there were moments when I thought back to how close I came to just living blind forever. If I hadn't trusted my gut when I did, if I kept swallowing those red flags just to keep the peace, I'd still be sitting there, paycheck after paycheck, paying for Tyler's hotel rooms while she cried on my shoulder about being broken. That right there still pisses me off when I think about it. But you learn, man. You learn how fragile trust actually is. You learn that once it's broken like that, truly broken, there's no patching it back up. You stop giving people the benefit of the doubt just because they share a last name or wear a ring. People earn their place in your circle. Nobody gets to stay in it just because they started there. Lauren tried to reach out a few times afterward. The usual desperate texts, voicemails, the long "I messed up" emails. All the same recycled garbage you hear when they finally realize you're not coming back. She even had the audacity to pull the "You were the best thing that ever happened to me" line. Like, yeah, I think no I was. That's why you lost me. Her mom? She stayed surprisingly silent after everything blew up. I think even she realized she pushed too far for too long and didn't want any more heat. And Tyler? Last I heard, he ended up filing for bankruptcy. Lost pretty much everything. Dude was living in some tiny apartment, ducking collectors, begging his family for loans just to stay afloat. And you know what? I never lifted a finger after I handed those files over. He buried himself all on his own once the truth came out. That's what people like him do. They self-destruct once the shield's gone. And as for me? I'm good, man. I don't jump into relationships fast anymore. I take my time. I keep my circle small. I've got my house, my business, my peace. I wake up every day, look in the mirror, and know one thing: I handled my business like a man. Not like some emotional wreck, not like a coward, but like a man who refused to let anyone make him their fool. And if there's one thing I'd say to any dude listening right now, trust your gut. When something feels off, it probably is. And don't let anyone, not your wife, not her family, not your so-called friends, make you question your own instincts. Because at the end of the day, no one's coming to save you. You save your damn self.